do not bring your politics out of respect to Reverend Jesse Jackson and the life that he lived to these homegoing services. These homegoing services are welcome to all, Democrat, Republican, liberal, and conservative, right wing, left wing, because his life is broad enough to cover the full spectrum of what it means to be an American.
Sounds like a reasonable request for a funeral or a memorial service, right? Especially when it's a memorial service for one of the most high-profile civil rights leaders in the country. Stands to reason that the funeral of Jesse Jackson would be very inclusive, and with his son requesting that your political beliefs be left outside, with his son requesting that your boodle breeze and toxic mouth farts be left at the door, along with the fact that doofus Democrats are supposedly the party of accommodating the needs of the marginalized, you would think the funeral of Jesse Jackson would be a bipartisan event. Dare I say, a unifying event. A moment where everyone can come together and remember a legendary American. Instead, doofus Democrats once again exploited death, and they used it as another opportunity to spread their misery and division. You know, there are two events that Uncle Casey really doesn't like to attend. The first is a wedding. I actually send thank you notes to people who don't invite me to their wedding. I consider it an act of integrity. I consider it to be very thoughtful if you don't invite me to your wedding. But coming in at a very close second is a funeral. The reason I don't like weddings and funerals, I don't like running into people that I haven't seen in decades. I'm not comfortable with awkward conversation. I'm not comfortable with forced conversation. Hey friend, what have you been up to? Have you met my son Remus? He's gonna be the president of the trailer park when he grows up. You sit there trying to figure out who the hell it is that you're talking to. By the time you figure out their name, they have moved on to the next uncomfortable conversation with someone else who has no idea who in the hell they are. When I'm at a funeral, I just want to pay my respects and then get the hell out of there. Keyword though, respect. Lately, I have noticed, and I'm sure you guys have noticed this too. Lately, there's been a lot of disrespect for those who are no longer with us. Charlie Kirk tragically loses his life. Charlie Kirk's life is taken by some dude who identifies as a dandelion. And the other tulips on social media, they celebrate his death. Earlier this week, Lou Holtz passed away, and Keith Olbermann, Kitty Pooh! The boy named Pooh honors Lou Holtz by calling him a legendary scumbag. For some reason, and I don't understand it, death has become politicized. Instead of celebrating someone's life, instead of paying your respects, funerals are now being used as another opportunity to spread the disease of politics. Or in the case of Jesse Jackson, doofus Democrats used his funeral to spread the woke fungus. After his son politely asked those who were going to speak to keep it respectful, after his son politely asked that his father's funeral be a service where everyone feels welcome, doofus Democrats just could not help themselves. They turned a celebration of a legendary life into a service of legendary bitterness. And unsurprisingly, the leader of the bitterness brigade was none other than Captain Doofus, Barry Obama. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel is in the description below. Earlier today on the second channel, talked about LeBron James being busted faking an injury again. I explain why the Lakers and the entire NBA are ready for LeBron James to retire. However, LeBron is not the only problem in Los Angeles. The Lakers are quickly figuring out that they have a very serious Luka Doncic problem. So if you haven't already, click the link in the description below, subscribe to the second channel. Yesterday was the funeral of the legendary Jesse Jackson. It was supposed to be a celebration. It was supposed to be a moment where stories were told, memories were revealed. People were supposed to explain the positive impact that Jesse Jackson had on their lives. But instead, doofus Democrats once again displayed their uncontrollable symptoms of stage 4 OMB. Orange bad! And they obsessively talked about Don Trump. The four high-profile speakers at the funeral, Alfred Sharpton, or as his close friends prefer to call him, Fred, our former fearless leader, Johnny B. Biden, Barry Obama, and I guess in the interest of diversity, they decided to invite cackling Cam Harris. I can't think of any other reason that you would invite cackling Cam to speak at your event other than diversity reasons. Since there is no current leader in the party of the donkey, since no one has stepped up in the last couple of years to become the face of the donkey, well, Uncle KC, what about AOC LGBT? She would be a beautiful face. Yeah, they actually wanted AOC to be their fearless leader, but unfortunately, she kinda messed that up when she proved her complete lack of understanding of foreign policy. My inside sources are telling me AOC was brainstorming on how to solve the immigration problem. Now, obviously, Ocasio wants to invite more immigrants into the country, so she came up with a brilliant plan to secure future Democratic voters. Ocasio sent thousands of shoes to people in Cuba and encouraged them to walk over here. With the Democrat bench being empty, with their only prospects being Ocasio and Gabby Newsom, doofus Democrats are still relying on Barry Obama and John Biden to lead the party of the donkey. Yesterday, they spoke at Jesse Jackson's funeral, but instead of honoring Jesse Jackson, they spent their allotted time talking about someone who wasn't even there, Don Trump. Watch it for yourself.
Each day we wake up to some new assault on our democratic institutions, an offense to common decency. Every day you wake up to things you just didn't think were possible. Each day we're told by those in high office to fear each other and to turn on each other, and that some Americans count more than others.
We beat people bigger than Trump. We fought people harder than them if we stand up and be what we're supposed to be.
We're in a tough spot, folks. We got an administration that doesn't share any of the values that we have. And I don't think I'm exaggerating a little bit.
Let me just say, I predicted a lot about what's happening right now. I'm not into saying I told you so, but we did see it coming.
Oh, Cam, you warned us. Woo! Clearly, Cam Harris is now identifying as a fortune teller. She's touring the country claiming that she can predict the future. John Biden, I don't know what the hell John Biden was talking about. The only time he was speaking somewhat coherently is when he made a joke about being smarter than all the black people in the room. Well, Uncle KC, others in conservative media said that wasn't a joke. They said John Biden was being serious. Clearly, Johnny B was joking. If he was standing by himself in a room and he said he was the smartest guy in the room, John Biden would clearly be joking. But the speaker who deserves all the blame for hijacking Jesse Jackson's funeral, Barry Obama. You know, Barack Obama is one of the most gifted speakers I have ever seen. Bill Clinton's the most charismatic president of my lifetime. One of our family friends. He was a barber. He was the only person who cut my hair for the first 35 years of my life, and he would still be cutting my hair to this day if he was still alive. But his son was brilliant, and when his son was in high school in the late 90s, they got the chance to meet Bill Clinton, him and his dad. It was one of those events at the White House where they flew in the smartest kid in every state to meet the president. But anyway, I'm getting my hair cut one day, and he's telling me about meeting Bill Clinton. He said when Clinton walked into the room, you could literally feel his presence. It was almost frightening. They got the chance to speak with him for a few minutes. There were hundreds of people in the room, and he said that Bill Clinton had this ability to make you feel like you were the only one in the room. He had the ability to make you think he actually cared. Now, I don't think Obama was as charismatic as Clinton, but Obama is an incredibly gifted speaker, arguably one of the greatest speakers in my lifetime. And even though he hasn't been president in over 10 years, Barry is still the leader of the Democratic Party, which means at Jesse Jackson's funeral yesterday, everyone else is going to follow his lead. If Barry treats it like a memorial service, everyone else will treat it like a memorial service. If Barry uses it as an opportunity to trash America, the others will follow his lead, which is exactly what happened. At the funeral of a legendary civil rights leader, at the funeral of a man that changed America, doofus Democrats used it as an opportunity to trash America. Why? Because most in the party of the donkey hate this country. If anyone should appreciate this country, it should be Barack Obama, a black man raised by a white woman. His father wasn't heavily involved in his life when he was younger. He doesn't come from money, doesn't come from a legacy family. Hell, his name isn't even an American name or a traditional American name. Yet somehow, in a country that many believed would never elect a black president, that same country elected a kid raised by a single mother, a kid raised in a mixed racial family named Barack Obama. Obama is living proof that anything is possible in America. Yet for some reason, he hates the country that gave him the opportunity to be president. Not once, but twice. Someone please make it make sense. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.